If you crash around 2 p.m., it usually is not because you are lazy or weak. It is often a predictable result of what happened in the first 60 minutes after you woke up. And the frustrating part is, a lot of common healthy morning habits quietly set you up for that slump. Not instantly, more like a slow leak in your energy budget. Here is the simple model. Your morning routine influences 3 things that decide your afternoon: blood sugar stability, stress hormones, and hydration and electrolytes. If you spike one, drain another, and forget the third, you can feel fine at 10 a.m. and still hit a wall later. So, we are going to walk through the biggest morning mistakes that create the 2 p.m. crash. Not vague motivation stuff, real mechanisms you can recognize, and for each one, a practical fix that fits normal life. Because the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to stop accidentally sabotaging your own energy before the day even starts. Moving to slide 2. Mistake number 1 is starting your day in a stress sprint. You wake up and immediately grab your phone. Messages, headlines, notifications. Your brain is processing problems before you have even given it fuel. That matters because your body treats mental urgency like physical urgency. Stress hormones rise. Your breathing gets shallower. And you may not notice it, but you start the day slightly revved. Here is the catch. When you burn through that stress-driven energy early, you often pay for it later with fatigue, cravings, and that foggy feeling where simple tasks feel heavy. A better move is a short buffer, even 5 to 10 minutes. No phone, light exposure if you can, a glass of water, a few slow breaths, or just standing and stretching. This is not about being calm for the vibe. It is about not spending your focus currency at 7 a.m. and wondering why you are broke at 2 p.m. Moving to slide 3. Mistake number 2 is treating coffee like breakfast. Coffee can be part of a solid morning, but when it is the first and only fuel, you are basically borrowing energy. Caffeine blocks adenosine, the signal that builds sleep pressure, so you feel more awake. But it doesn't create energy. If your body is underfueled, caffeine just helps you ignore the warning lights for a while. Then what happens? You get a productive burst, maybe even a little jittery. And later, when caffeine fades and adenosine catches up, the crash feels sharper. The fix is not to fear coffee. It is to pair it with something that stabilizes you. Ideally some protein, some fiber, and a little fat. Even a simple option works. Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, eggs with whole grain toast, or a tofu scramble with vegetables. Coffee becomes a tool, not a life support system. Moving to slide 4. Mistake number 3 is a breakfast that looks healthy, but acts like dessert. Think, a big bowl of sweet cereal, pastries, or even a smoothie that is mostly fruit juice. Here is why it matters. A high-sugar, low-protein breakfast can spike blood glucose quickly. Your body responds with insulin to bring it down, and for some people, that drop can overshoot, leaving you tired, hungry, and hunting for more sugar a few hours later. The 2 p.m. crash often starts right here. Not at 2 p.m., at 8 a.m. A better breakfast has an anchor. Protein is the anchor, then add fiber, then add carbs in a slower form. Oats with chia and yogurt, whole fruit instead of juice, or a smoothie built around protein, plus berries, plus spinach, plus a spoon of nut butter. You still get something enjoyable. Moving to slide 5. Mistake number 4 is skipping breakfast entirely when your day is mentally demanding. Some people genuinely feel great with a later first meal, but a lot of people skip breakfast by accident, then wonder why their focus collapses after lunch. If you wake up, drink coffee, run on stress, and push hard through the morning, you are using stored energy and willpower at the same time. By early afternoon, your brain starts asking for quick fuel. That is when you get the snack drawer mentality. If you do not want a full meal early, you can still build a bridge, something small that reduces the swing. A protein shake, a handful of nuts plus fruit, cottage cheese, or leftovers, honestly. The goal is not constant eating. The goal is stable inputs, so your energy curve is smoother. And if you are experimenting with meal timing, pay attention to your actual output at 1 to 3 p.m. Moving to slide 6. Mistake number 5 is underhydrating in the morning. A lot of people wake up slightly dehydrated. That is normal. You have been breathing out water for hours. Even mild dehydration can make you feel more tired and less sharp. And here is what makes it sneaky. You might interpret it as hunger or low motivation, then reach for more caffeine or sugar. So start with water. Not a heroic gallon, just a real glass, maybe two, within the first hour. If you sweat a lot, train early, or drink a lot of coffee, electrolytes matter too. Sodium helps you hold on to water. Potassium and magnesium also play roles in nerve and muscle function. You can keep it simple. Water plus a pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon. Or an electrolyte mix with minimal sugar. When hydration is handled early, your afternoon feels less like pushing through wet cement. Moving to slide 7. Mistake number 6 is doing intense exercise first thing, then not refueling properly. Morning workouts can be great, but high-intensity training is a stressor, a useful one, but still a stressor. If you go hard, sweat a lot, and then rush into the day with just coffee, you are stacking stress on stress. That can show up later as a heavy slump, irritability, or that wired but tired feeling. The fix is matching recovery to the session. If it was light movement, a normal breakfast is fine. If it was intense or long, think protein plus carbs plus fluids. Protein supports muscle repair. Carbs help replenish glycogen, which is basically stored carbohydrate your body uses for higher output. Also, do not ignore salt if you sweat heavily. Replacing fluid without electrolytes can still leave you flat. Train hard if you want, just do not pretend recovery is optional. Moving to slide 8. Mistake number 7 is staying indoors in dim light all morning. Light is not just for mood, it is a timing signal for your body clock. When you get brighter light earlier in the day, your circadian rhythm tends to anchor better. That can improve alertness in the morning and support sleep pressure building at the right time later. If you spend the morning in low light, your brain can feel like it never fully switched into daytime mode. Then you rely more on caffeine, and the afternoon dip feels worse. You do not need a perfect sunrise routine. Just get some outdoor light exposure early if possible. A short walk, standing near a bright window, even a few minutes helps. And if you are sensitive to light, you can still do it gradually. The point is consistency. This is one of those changes that feels too simple. Then you notice your 2 p.m. is different. Moving to slide 9. Mistake number 8 is front-loading your day with only quick tasks. You clear emails, you handle small requests, you bounce between tabs. It feels productive. But it is basically mental junk food. Here is why it can cause a 2 p.m. crash. Your brain has a limited capacity for context switching. Every switch has a cost. You burn attention on transitions, not on progress. By early afternoon, you feel mentally tired, even if you did not do anything hard. Try this instead. Put one meaningful task earlier in the day. 1. Something that requires sustained focus for 30 to 60 minutes. Then you can do the reactive stuff. This changes your energy curve, because deep work is oddly energizing when it is not constantly interrupted. And if your mornings are chaotic, set a tiny rule. No inbox until after you have completed one focused block. Moving to slide 10. Mistake number 9 is eating lunch like a sedative. This one starts in the morning, because your morning choices shape how hungry you are by midday. If breakfast was mostly sugar, or you skipped it, lunch often becomes a giant catch-up meal. A very large, heavy lunch, especially high in refined carbs and low in protein and fiber, can increase sleepiness afterward. Digestion draws blood flow. Blood sugar can rise and fall, and suddenly 2 p.m. feels like a different planet. The fix is not eat less. It is eat smarter. Build lunch around protein and fiber first. Then add carbs in a portion that matches your activity. Add healthy fats, but not so much that it becomes a brick. Also, consider a short walk after lunch. Even 10 minutes can help with glucose handling and alertness. If your afternoon is important, lunch should support it, not knock it out. Moving to slide 11. Mistake number 10 is the caffeine timing trap. If you slam caffeine immediately after waking, you may feel great short term, but you can also create a pattern where you need more and more to feel normal. Some people do better delaying the first coffee a bit, letting natural alertness rise. Others do fine with early caffeine, but crash because they keep topping up late morning. That sets up a rebound dip early afternoon, and it can also interfere with sleep later, which makes the next day worse. A practical approach is to set caffeine bookends. Decide your first caffeine and your last caffeine time. Keep the dose consistent, and if you want a second cup, pair it with water and a snack that has protein. Also, pay attention to hidden caffeine in pre-workouts, energy drinks, and even some teas. Caffeine is powerful. Treat it like a strategy, not a reflex. Moving to slide 12. Mistake number 11 is ignoring micronutrients that support energy metabolism. This is not about magic supplements. It is about the basics your cells use to turn food into usable energy. If your diet is low in iron, B vitamins, magnesium, or overall protein, you might feel like your battery is smaller. And then any stressor, a bad night of sleep, a hard workout, a big lunch, pushes you into a crash. Morning is a good time to build nutrient density because it sets the tone. Add foods that pull their weight. Eggs, dairy, legumes, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. If you do not eat animal products, pay extra attention to B12 sources and iron-rich foods paired with vitamin C. This is not instant. It is more like upgrading the wiring over weeks. If your 2 p.m. crash is constant, not occasional. Moving to slide 13. Mistake number 12 is building a morning routine that has no margin. You wake up with just enough time to barely make it. You rush, you skip water, you skip food, you forget sunlight, you start working already behind. That creates a pattern where your nervous system stays in catch-up mode for hours. And then, right around 2 p.m., the bill shows up. So here is a realistic rebuild. Pick 2 non-negotiables that take under 5 minutes total. One is hydration. The other is either protein, light exposure, or a short walk. Then add 1 optional habit that you do only if time allows. And keep it boring. Boring is sustainable. Before we wrap, I want to hear from you. Which one causes your crash more often? A. Sugar-heavy breakfast. Or B. Too much caffeine. If you want more practical systems like this, subscribe. This information is not a substitute for medical advice.
Every habit sends a biological signal.